Hello and welcome to the 133rd installment of the Synapse Misfire podcast. I'm your host, Chris, joined by our other host, Jordan.
That's me, baby.
And our third host, a bug. Not anymore.
Didn't pay his taxes.
What I'm gonna do, because we need to clean this place up.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to run because I just heard what you were saying. So you're gonna have to run. So I'll take care of it. But I'm gonna fucking seal that window up. Yeah. I'm gonna put like some shit on it so that stuff doesn't get in because I think that's where they're coming from. Because these don't exist.
Do we have just like foam? You could just.
I have something. I could put something in there. I'll ask my dad. He'll know.
Yeah.
But I don't see those fucking things anywhere else in the house.
Yeah.
Anywhere else in the house.
It's always here. Dude, he's in the corner like.
Oh, he's tweaking, bro. He's tubercularized Arthur Morgan right now.
Bro's on the cliff top like. What
are the platforms?
As always, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify Podcasts, and the RSS Feed, all linked below. There's also the Instagram and TikTok where you can catch us there. We haven't posted in 6 months, but it's fine. And as always, you can contact us via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, and death threats. There's also YouTube and Spotify video platforms. Chris, what have you been up to?
You know, Jordan.
That's like the equivalent of a cold opening. Just like, it's so fast that you're just like, what the fuck happened?
You know, Jordan, speaking of bugs and other pests, I was in the shower last night.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Yeah. I was in the shower, and I saw not one, not two, but 3 spiders.
Oh, fuck that, bro.
I fucking decimated them.
Chris was shadow boxing in that shower.
Dude,
He looked like Rocky in the meat locker from the fucking Silhouette, dude. Just...
As is typical on a Friday night, I had a fair amount of whiskey, so I was in the fighting spirit, bro.
Dude, you were the drunk fighter from MKX. Like, literally.
So, you know, I was in the shower, and this was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, because I had no regulation of my extremities. So what I did is I saw the spider move onto like the tile, and I fucking gorilla smacked it, and it made so much noise.
Time stopped.
Yeah, fucker. It fell, and and that's when I noticed the 2 other ones.
Oh,
shit. And I got both of them, and I started punching them.
I think it'd be really funny, Chris, to learn CGI, just to do like a fight scene between you and 3 small spiders, like life-size spiders, like little tiny guys, but they're like miraculously strong, so like you go to punch one, and a little tiny web shoots out of the other one's ass and holds your arm.
And it like zooms into like spider perspective, and he's got like the Kratos shield, and he blocks my punch with a shield.
Yeah, for real. Or like you send him flying and he lands on the shield like Kratos does sometimes, and he slides, and he gets up. He does the fucking heel thing, like one arm's twisted. He just like, and his arm goes back to normal.
Yeah,
it's like what the.
That's gonna be like when you fight fucking what's his name in like God of War 3, the Titans.
Oh, no, is it Hermes? Yeah, Kronos. Yeah. I want to say Hermes for some reason.
I'm taking a mythology class right now. And,
they teach you about Kratos yet?
We did some Greek mythology, and I was like, man, it is crazy how they kept this as accurate as possible by building lore that actually exists around Kratos. Mm-hmm. Because, and it works that way in Norse as well.
Yeah.
I was just going to explain like a parallel, but it would spoil like a major portion of Ragnarok, so I don't want to do that.
Right.
But if you read the mythology, there's a lot of parallels drawn, and Kratos is just like the parallels are moved over to Kratos essentially.
Right. I was actually shocked to learn the other day. Before Ragnarok came out, people were like, or not Ragnarok, 2018 came out, people were like, how did Kratos go from Greek mythology to Norse? And the developers had said like in the real mythos, they're not separate times, they're just separate places.
Areas, yeah.
And then I realized...
And that's explained a lot in both of the games.
Yeah, and I didn't know, by the way, that there was a comic book between the last God of War in Greece and in 2018 that showed wolves dragged Kratos to the Norse mythos, apparently.
Apparently,
so they say. So the word on the street says.
The word on the street being the official released
comic
material.
Book.
Yeah.
But, what were you saying before that, though? Before mythos?
Yeah, no.
Oh, the spiders.
Yeah, spiders.
Fucking
Greek mythology. I'm taking a mythology class, and I don't remember like any of the characters. So
Yeah.
I just remember like reading through. We read through like Demeter and Persephone, and like reading through. I'm like he. Reading it like different gods. I'm like he. Kratos killed that guy. And then
Like,
he talks
teacher,
about
when does
fucking
Kratos behead him?
Helios or whatever.
The one he
And I'm
beheads,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, I remember when Kratos ripped his head right off his fucking shoulders.
Yeah.
Because just because he needed him. He needed to do that. He's like, fuck all these people.
You know, Chris, I think I gotta spice you up a little bit. I think it's time to put some spice,
Some stank on me.
some stank, dude. I'm gonna rank your ass right now, brother.
Oh boy, what are you gonna? If you tell me some bullshit, I'm gonna punch you in the mouth.
Someone on TikTok made a video, and this actually upset me, who said Kratos is an uninteresting character because they make him immortal, and I was upset.
Bro,
I was upset.
there is not a character that I've seen more depth in than Kratos.
They're like, they make him endlessly strong, so every fight you know he's gonna win. I'm like, not necessarily.
You could say that about fucking any character.
When you're like Spider-Man, if you're playing Spider-Man, you're expecting that at the end, Spider-Man's gonna be like dun 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 dun, like the hero.
Yeah.
So like, oh, does that mean that Spider-Man 2018 sucks because I knew that he was gonna beat Octavius at the end?
It's like saying that
Like,
it's like saying that Breaking Bad sucks because you know Walter's gonna survive all of the encounters until the end.
yeah, like literally, any comic book,
Shut up.
any comic book or any hero or any show can be derived to that simplicity of like, oh, this movie sucks because I know the character's gonna survive at the end.
I need that person to look something up. If you see this, whoever you are,
If you remember making a TikTok about how Kratos is overpowered and boring, this is for you.
listen to this, right? I want you to go on Google.com, okay? Google.com on your computer. And on the little search bar, I want you to search plot armor. Plot
Space.
ARMOR. Plot armor. And then read about that concept. Click whatever the link comes up first.
Go to like Wikipedia or something like, or like Urban Dictionary. Maybe it's on there.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyone that explains to you what plot armor is, and then that will give you what you want.
Yeah. So hang on. My understanding of plot armor is that like why Lara Croft or Nathan Drake can single-handedly take down an army.
Maybe so, yeah.
I thought they were just badass.
It's like
Oh
how
no, it's like they're the main character.
It's like how Arthur Morgan can fucking kill 50 a wave of 50 police officers without dying.
Yeah. Or
he's supposed to.
Or like Lenny, Dutch, and Arthur can crash a trolley in the middle of a city square with guards all around them and then escape completely unharmed besides the crash damage.
Yeah.
Or like end up on a ship, fall in the Atlantic Ocean, somehow land miraculously all on the same island.
I'll give a more apt comparison, more like 1-to-1. It's like saying Homelander is a terrible villain because he is practically invincible. Homelander's a fucking incredibly terrifying villain.
Yeah.
And I watched an entire video about this, how the power dynamic works really well when the character that you're fighting, the villain, is so much more powerful than everyone else.
Right.
So, that doesn't apply to Kratos, but like knowing that he's usually at a disadvantage, he's fighting much younger, faster gods, and he's lost a lot of his powers.
Or like Heimdall, for example.
Or
the guy,
the guy who can see into the fucking future.
Yeah. Like, okay, sure, Kratos has infinite strength, but he also had to fight someone who can literally predict everything he's doing.
Yeah. So.
Like, yeah. It just seems asinine. Like, I think for what it is, God of War 2018 and especially Ragnarok did a fantastic job showing how, sure, he is insanely powerful, but he's also limited compared to a lot of...
I remember playing 2018 and going, I don't get how he's so fucking fragile.
Yeah.
Because when you start that game, at the base health you get like hit once and you fucking die.
Yeah.
And then you get the health upgrades and then you become like a real force to be reckoned with. Yeah. But still, that's the one of the most foolish things I've ever heard. Kratos is a character with such infinite depth. Yeah. I love Kratos a lot.
Right.
And I love the way he was portrayed in the new games. Very much. I see a lot of myself in the character. I see a lot of myself in Atreus as well. And it's, it's a good character. Maybe I'm just a bit of a simp.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a bit of a simp for
Like,
Daddy Kratos, but
could-
you know,
Could you imagine?
he's a bad motherfucker. But that's not his only character trait. Like Doom Guy, bad motherfucker. That's his
it.
only thing.
That's his thing. He's a silent beast.
And he does it in a charismatic sort of way, even though he doesn't speak. Kratos is a bad motherfucker only when he has to be.
Yeah. Kratos would just happily go like farm, but like.
Well, he's like,
then
I'm just
show
chilling, and then fucking Baldur shows up and punches me over my house.
Now I'm mad.
now I gotta beat the dog shit out of this guy. You know, in my own, back to my old ways. I gotta beat the shit out of this guy and throw him off a cliff.
Yeah.
You know, shit
But
happens.
like, could you imagine, Chris, right? All right, so to that person's point, I agree. You know what? Let's get rid of plot armor. So Red Dead Redemption 2 is all of 7 minutes long. Arthur gets hypothermia and dies immediately in the beginning. In Coulter, he fucking freezes to death and dies. The entire game dies.
The entire game freezes to death.
They have no food and they freeze to death. John gets slashed by the wolf and his neck is just hanging off. He's fucking dead.
And
there
he
you go.
freezes to death because he was out in the fucking cold for like 2 days.
Yeah, there's your story. There's Red Dead 2. There you go. Sorry, I spoiled it for you. They all die.
Yeah,
First
they
mission.
all fucking die.
He goes, Dutch, is that you? And then he freezes and he just dies.
Let's remove plot armor. Breaking Bad ends 20 minutes into the first episode because Walter's gun doesn't jam and he does kill himself.
Yeah.
Like, fucking shut up.
It's the same argument that's made about like sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like things that happen only to happen to advance the plot. Like for example, Spider-Man Miles Morales, without getting into any crazy spoilers, like Spider-Man 2018, you end the game and you are a force to be reckoned with. Miles Morales takes place after the game, and the entire opening is specifically designed where Rhino, the guy that Spider-Man or Peter Parker has taken down dozens of times in that universe, beats him. And then Miles has to be like, oh, fuck, and finds out about his secret powers and shit.
Yeah.
That only happens so Miles can have that character growth. Because, again, like everyone always says about Spider-Man holding back his punches, if he just didn't, the game would be boring. He'd just go, oh, Rhino? And he'd kill him, and in a single hit. He would completely end his life.
Rest in peace to all of our headphone listeners. I just saw that fucking clip the audio.
For real.
You're gonna have to tone that one down, buddy.
I'm gonna tone it up, baby. It's gonna be like a flashbang.
One of the people we know is gonna be listening to this in the car, and all their speakers are gonna blow out.
They're gonna lose control on the highway.
Jesus Christ! And they're gonna fucking drive off a bridge.
Oh man, but yeah, no, like shit happens. Like plot armor's a thing. The entire plot of The Last of Us, one of the best games ever made, is behind plot armor. Like,
yeah, and I can understand that there's like tropes that are fucking annoying, but plot armor is one that's 100% necessary.
if you didn't have plot armor, everything would be very, very quick and be boring.
Yeah.
Like Nathan Drake would die immediately.
Because I can understand tropes of like, an ass pull being like really annoying. Like, this is why I don't like. This is why I don't talk up like stuff like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anymore, or like a lot of anime, because that is how it works. There's all of a sudden there's the big fight and the main character pulls an ability out of his ass, just out of thin air.
Yeah.
And now he can just do that, and that's how he defeats the villain, and that annoys the fucking shit out of me. Spoilers for Part 3 of JoJo's. It's several years old now, so you should have watched it if you cared. But by several years old, I mean the original comic, like the original manga, came out in like 1988. So
A couple of years old, yeah.
and the anime is very accurate to it. At the end, when he's fighting Dio, all of a sudden, Star Platinum can just stop time.
Ah.
He can stop time. They find out that the world, Dio's stand, can stop time. And Jotaro goes, okay, bet. And then he can stop time now. He just learns that ability.
Bro, he watched him do it.
In the last fucking 20 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
Shut up. I hate that. That's annoying. I could see that being an argument to be made.
Yeah.
But also, by the way, to that same point, you could make that argument of, oh, he's too overpowered, to like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like Star Platinum, they give like little fucking character breakdowns of all the stands.
Mm-hmm.
And Star Platinum's like an A in every category. Like, yeah, he's the main guy. His shit is supposed to be overpowered.
Yeah.
But that's like, I can see that being annoyingly overpowered, but the guy he's fighting is just as overpowered.
Right, so it kind of cancels out in a way.
Yeah.
I have to say, you know what did that good? Ben 10. So Ben 10... Ben 10
That's not where I thought you were going to go with that.
So Ben 10 Alien Force, right? The one where he's a teenager. It ends with him having to sacrifice the watch, and then he gets a new one, but he doesn't know how to use it. So he finally transforms into fucking Humongosaur. This is like embedded in my brain. And he's getting his ass kicked. And then the show ends. And then they announce the next show called Ultimate Alien, which pits up with, as he's getting his ass kicked as the fucking dinosaur by Vilgax, he realizes that the new version of the watch has the ultimate transformations, and he turns into Ultimate Humongosaur, which is like, has cannons for fists that shoot rockets and stuff, and then that's where the show picks up. But it was done pretty good in that show, where it's like he kind of pulls it out of his ass, but it's not like, oh no, it's out of his ass. Like, there's an entire plot line, a subplot to the show that built up to that point for him to unleash that power.
When I was a kid, I never watched Ben 10 because Ben 10 pissed me off for some reason. I don't know why. I can't explain to you why, but whenever it came on, I would change the channel. I was mad.
For a kid to change a cartoon channel means something.
No, there was a lot of cartoons like that where I'm like, I'm not fucking watching this. I'm watching something else.
Did you ever like Courage?
Disney Channel for a while.
I never liked Disney, but did you ever like Courage, the Cowardly Dog?
Yes, but it scared the shit out of me, so I didn't watch it a lot.
Same.
Watching it back as an adult,
it's interesting.
Phenomenal cartoon.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. If you want a cartoon that's like unsettling, but also like has some humor to it and is very well done, that's a good one to watch.
I think I might have talked about this on the podcast. I know I talked about my weekend where I had COVID or whatever, and I watched Scooby-Doo a bunch of times, like different Scooby-Doo stuff. Yeah. They did a crossover movie called Scooby-Doo and Courage the Cowardly Dog where they cross over. It was actually pretty interesting. I liked the way they balanced it, and what I like most is, get this, unlike Velma, which I haven't even continued watching, but get this. They made this Scooby-Doo and Courage show, right? And they have the two iconic dogs, and you know what they did? They focused the entire show on them.
On the dogs?
So, like, the gang is there, and Muriel is there, but they're like side pieces.
That's what the shows are about.
The dogs,
It's called Courage the Cowardly Dog.
And Scooby-Doo.
And Scooby-Doo. It's about Scoobert Doobert.
Yeah.
And Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah. So most of the show is them, like, being badass together. And then, like, the gang's there, but they're, like, a little side piece here and there. But, yeah, it was weird to see them do a Scooby-Doo and Courage show and focus on the iconic characters.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like strange. If they did Jimmy and Timmy Power Hour and then focused the whole plot on fucking that bitch, whatever, Cindy.
Yeah.
That bitch. They just focused the whole plot on her instead.
Yeah. Dude, Jimmy and Timmy, though, that crossover, that shit was like, that was like Endgame for me.
I remember watching that when I was a kid and not thinking it was real. What the fuck is this? I was dumbfounded.
It was really cool how they went from universe to universe, like.
Oh yeah, and the animation style changed.
Yeah, like
that was really cool.
It'd be the Fairly Odd Parents.
We need more crossovers like that, I think.
Oh, 100% with cartoons. Like think about. I know they're different universes because I think one's Nick, one's Cartoon Network. Imagine Ben 10 with like Danny Phantom.
That would be a bang.
That'd be pretty fucking bang, dude. Like that'd be sick as shit. We need more Ben 10, but not this new shit.
I was a huge Danny Phantom fan, though.
Dude, for real.
I could not tell you a single thing that happens in that show, but I watched it all the time.
There was a game on the Game Boy Advance that I fucking played for hours and hours, dude. That it was a Danny Phantom game, and I used to just be so nasty at that shit. It was like the one platformer I was good at.
What I've learned is my retention of like media was basically non-existent until I was like 17.
I agree. Yeah.
Like I could not tell you. There's been movies that I've seen like 5 times, but I saw them like 10 years ago, and I could not tell you a single fucking thing that happened.
I think for me, so more so with TV shows like Danny Phantom, I cannot even imagine a scene right now. Or like, you remember Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide?
Yeah.
Don't know shit about that. I know
but
I watched it.
But I watched a shitload of it.
I know I watched it. I don't know anything about it. But like certain things, like SpongeBob, that's a given. I can call back anything.
I keep up with SpongeBob. I still consistently watch SpongeBob.
Same.
It's the only reason I pay for fucking Paramount Plus.
Oh, do you?
Because it's on Paramount Plus.
Is it the new episodes?
Yeah, it's all of them.
I might have to get Paramount Plus because I've been wanting to watch the new ones. People hate on them, but I don't find them that bad.
Because originally I was gonna I subbed to Paramount Plus because I wanted to watch full episodes of Bar Rescues instead of highlights. But I was like, oh shit, SpongeBob
Well, I might have to get
And then I watch 0 episodes of Bar Rescues, and I watch a shitload of SpongeBob.
But like SpongeBob, Saints Row, I can tell you everything about fucking Saints Row and Saints Row 2. Like certain things stuck with me, but like those odd ones out, I ain't got nothing. Like even Fairly Odd Parents, I can't remember a ton about that show.
No, I really can't either.
So
I remember that one being, it's okay, but it's not SpongeBob. SpongeBob was always my favorite.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's why I think that's the only reason I remember most of SpongeBob, and I've kept up with it. And SpongeBob is like, I feel like the cultural thing. To draw a comparison that was made to us, that I kind of hand waved away in a joking sort of manner, because I was kind of being an ass about it, because that's just how I am.
You be a little bit of an ass.
The Gen Z version of like The Office.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's iconic to that generation, but the people outside of the generation don't like it.
Yeah. Like our coworkers, the older coworkers are like, yeah, his laugh's annoying. And I'm like, what do you mean it's iconic?
Yeah.
It's his thing.
But it's like, if, these guys watched the show like, when they were like in their 20s. But like, we've been watching SpongeBob forever now. And it's just, it's a show for obviously different audiences. But it's just, it means more to their generation like The Office does. As opposed to ours. Then like, you go to like Gen X and it's like Seinfeld.
Oh, God, yeah. I can't even tolerate Seinfeld. I really can't.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen a single episode of Seinfeld.
I can't even tolerate it. Like, I look at, like, Jerry Seinfeld, I'm like, you're just fucking annoying.
I like part when the fucking, whatever his name is, walks into the apartment and is like, hey, Jerry, I said the N-word on stage at the Laugh Factory in 2006.
Kramer?
Yeah.
I do have to say, so with SpongeBob, here's what I think is so good about SpongeBob, Chris, and you can agree or disagree, but
I disagree.
I think the thing about SpongeBob that's so phenomenal is that it's so deep-rooted and complex that you can watch it as a kid and go, haha, SpongeBob, very funny, and then go back and watch the same shit as an adult and get a totally different meaning.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like, it's fantastic. Like, I'll rewatch episodes that I saw as a kid, and I'm like, oh, I remember this scene. And then I see it, and I'm like, oh, wow.
And
that actually has a meaning.
To that same point where, like, in the older generations, you see people who are like, oh, God, I'm becoming my father, or I'm becoming my dad, or I'm becoming my mother, or whatever. For our equivalent is like, oh, shit, I'm becoming Squidward.
Yes, for real, dude. The customer service job.
Well, it's different, though. It depends, because personally, I am definitely becoming more like my dad, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, I wouldn't say so.
I don't think that's a bad thing. But it's like, oh, shit, I'm becoming Squidward.
I would say I'm becoming more like Squidward, where I'm kind of intolerant of customer service now that I'm working in customer service.
My tolerance for bullshit is like,
yeah,
it's a lot lower, and I'm gonna be like a grumpy piece of shit, but people are gonna like me anyway.
Right. True.
Like SpongeBob loves Squidward.
Like very much, yeah.
And they're like friends in like the first 4 seasons, and then you go like beyond that. Once you get to like the newer episodes, it's like SpongeBob and Patrick will be fucking murdering Squidward's entire family in front of them, and then laugh about it, and Squidward will be like, SpongeBob, cut that shit out, and that's the whole episode. And before it was like, it's displayed a lot on the pizza episode, where he's like, the guy's like, what about my drink? And he makes SpongeBob cry. And Squidward goes, I'm not taking that shit. That's my friend.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw this pizza down this man's esophagus.
Yeah.
They ate the whole thing in one bite.
Right. Or there's like the pie episode where he makes him eat the bomb pie.
Yeah, and he thinks he killed SpongeBob.
And he makes him have one last terrible. Day. Yeah, he gives him one last beautiful day.
Because they're like down, they're friends at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So,
There's the pie episode. There's the fucking the snowball episode where they finally fucking, he participates in the snowball fight and they're kind of playing.
Or the box episode.
The bots episode, yep. The treehouse one where they launch the treehouse into the woods and then they're surviving.
Yeah.
So like there's definitely like a bond
that's
there.
That's a good episode.
That's a banger episode.
So shout out Booms. He's gonna love this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
So, anyway, moving on. What the fuck were we talking about before SpongeBob?
Spiders. And then Kratos, and then SpongeBob.
So I want to talk about ChatGPT.
Why does it sound familiar? What is that?
It's the AI like text.
That's what it is. I saw people doing that with Marky Zuck.
So AI is a bit of a controversial subject right now.
Of course, yeah.
And for like things like art, I definitely see why. I definitely see why. ChatGPT generates text, and
It's a bit of a talker.
it generates text, and you can just ask it to write stuff, and it will write stuff for you.
I saw people doing it for school assignments.
But you can still tell, like with the art, you can't really. There's a lot of times you can't tell it was made by an AI.
Right.
But with the text, there's a lot of times you can absolutely tell it was made by an AI.
Yeah.
Because it's the way it words everything is very much like like you would word a work email.
Yes.
So what I love ChatGPT as a tool though, because it lets me talk to essentially a person who's not going to be a dickhead. So if I'm having an issue with something, or if I'm having like writer's block or something, I will say, here's what I have. So I'm working on a project right now for my distributed systems class. And we're doing like a simple web server in C, and I couldn't fucking figure out why my thing wasn't working, and there was no reason why it shouldn't have been working. And I asked ChatGPT, this is my code, what's wrong with it? Why does it not work? This is what I'm trying to do, and it's not working. And it was helping me with it, didn't lead me to a solution.
But it tried.
But it tried, because technically the answer it gave me was 100% correct, but not right, if you know what I mean. Basically, we're going to be using the HTTP 0.9 standard. This is a very technical thing, so just don't bother to listen to this. But it's we're going to use HTTP 0.9, the 1991 version of the protocol, because it didn't use headers, but modern browsers can only go down to like 1.1 or 1.0. And that has to use headers, so you have to send headers anyway, even though my professor told me that you don't have to send headers. So I had to send headers. Anyway.
Giving him a head, what?
Bottom line.
Another visual bit.
Bottom line. ChatGPT is a great tool to bounce ideas off of. And I use it to like write things a lot, where I'll say, this is what I have so far, what do you think? Or like, can you... I was coming up with like names for stuff. For like the video I'm working on now. And I'm like, this is the ones I have for like chapter names. This is what I have. Do you have any other ideas? And it will give you stuff. And then like from those answers, I'm like, oh, and I came up with a completely different answer. Or
But
a completely
it was inspired,
different name. But it was inspired by the feedback it gave me.
Well, sometimes you just literally need feedback. Even if it's not like word for word, like, oh, it said I should name it this.
To that same end, you can have it write just stupid shit. Hang on. I have I have a document called ChatGPT Nonsense. Oh. So this is what I had it write the other day. Let me get this. ChatGPT Nonsense. Where did I put it?
While you're looking that up, so where I had recognized the name from was a fucking guy on Reddit on r/what could go wrong. Got it spelled from college.
Oh yeah, it's like master's fucking thesis or whatever.
Yeah, he had the fucking AI write it and they figured it out. Probably because it's not that hard to figure out.
I wrote, and it won't spit out a ton of text either. It'll spit out, like, if you asked it to write a story or something, it'll spit out like 3 paragraphs.
Yeah.
So I asked it, can you write a script for an episode of Breaking Bad where Walt and Jesse go to the moon? Interior, abandoned warehouse. Day. Walt and Jesse are discussing their latest drug deal when Walt gets an idea. Walt. Jesse, what if we went to the moon to cook meth? There's no law up there, and the lack of atmosphere would make our product purer than ever. Jesse, skeptical. Are you serious? How are we supposed to get to the moon? Walt. I've got connections. Cut 2. Interior. Spacecraft. Day. Walt and Jesse are dressed in spacesuits, floating weightless in the spacecraft. They are mixing chemicals in zero gravity, creating the purest meth they've ever produced. Jesse, this is insane, man. We're actually on the moon cooking meth. Walt, smiling. The sky's the limit, Jesse. Suddenly, the spacecraft starts to shake and alarms sound. Walt and Jesse look out the window to see a fleet of government spacecraft closing in. Walt, panicking. We've got to get out of here. Jesse, how? Walt, I've got a plan. Cut 2, exterior, moon's surface, day. Walt and Jesse are driving across the moon's surface in a lunar rover, pursued by the government spacecraft. They make a daring escape using the moon's low gravity to perform death-defying stunts. Walt, breathless. We made it. We're free. Jesse, laughing. We're also stranded on the moon with no way back. Walt, grinning. That's a problem for future Walt and future Jesse to deal with. And then I asked it to write a follow-up episode. Can you write me the next episode where Mike saves them from the moon? Interior, spacecraft control room, day. Mike is monitoring the situation on the moon where Walt and Jesse are stranded after their daring escape. He shakes his head, muttering to himself. Mike, to himself. These idiots. They always manage to get themselves into trouble. He picks up a radio and contacts the spacecraft. Mike, Walt, Jesse, this is Mike. I'm on my way to get you. Cut 2, interior, spacecraft, day. Walt and Jesse are desperately trying to repair their spacecraft, but it's clear they're in over their heads. Walt, panicking. We're never going to get out of here. Jesse, frustrated. Why did we ever come to the moon in the first place?
To make meth, brother.
Suddenly, a voice crackles over the radio. Mike, relax, boys, I'm on my way. Cut 2, exterior, moon surface, day. I don't know how they're determining day or night on the moon.
I was going to say it. I was just waiting for you to finish. Yeah, I was like, okay.
Mike lands his spacecraft near Walt and Jesse's lunar rover. He gets out wearing a spacesuit and carrying a large toolbox. Mike, smiling. You two really know how to get into a fix. Walt, relieved. Mike, you're a lifesaver. Mike quickly repairs the damaged spacecraft, and the three of them blast off back to Earth. Cut 2, interior, abandoned warehouse, day. Walt and Jesse are back in the abandoned warehouse, looking shaken but grateful. Jesse, laughing. That was insane. Walt, smiling. We couldn't have done it without you, Mike. Mike, grinning. That's what friends are for. The screen fades to black as the three of them share a chuckle and continue with their criminal enterprise. So you can't make it write things based on other media where it keeps the character, because Walt, Jesse, and Mike do not act like that at all.
Yeah.
But it's fucking funny.
But it can inspire, like if you had writer's block.
I don't have like it in the document, but I had it write, quite honestly, the funniest fucking thing I've ever read.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest, I didn't realize it was that advanced, that it was able to...
Oh, no, it is crazy
not
advanced.
only write you a script and maintain character names and interactions and not get confused, but also do a fucking follow-up that made sense.
Well, I was trying to stump the AI. So what I had it do, the first thing I had it do, I said, can you write me a web server in C? Because it was just on my mind. That was the project I was working on. And then I said, okay, can you do it in Java? Spits it out in Java. I said, I bet you can't do that in x86 assembly. Sure enough, it did it. Another thing I had it write.
That's fucking wild.
Let's see. Okay. I write, can you write me an advertisement for a meat-based food called This Is Definitely Real Meat? Looking for a satisfying and delicious meal that's packed with protein? Look no further than This Is Definitely Real Meat. Made from 100% real, juicy, and succulent cuts of meat, our product is the perfect choice for meat lovers everywhere. Whether you're in the mood for a hearty steak or juicy burger, our meat-based food product is sure to deliver the taste and nutrition you need to power through your day. So why settle for bland, boring, and unsatisfying vegetarian alternatives when you can have the real thing? Try This Is Definitely Real Meat today and experience the difference that only real meat can make. Then I asked it to write it. I said, can you add a legal disclaimer saying that we aren't exactly sure what kind of meat it is? Introducing This Is Definitely Real Meat, the latest addition to your diet. Get ready for a burst of flavor in every bite. Our product is made from 100% real meat, which we can definitely say is real, with a tender texture and rich taste. This Is Definitely Real Meat is perfect for every meal. But wait, there's more. Our legal team requires us to inform you that the exact type of meat used in our product is not entirely clear. However, we can assure you that it is delicious and made from the finest quality meat available. So if you're looking for a meat-based food product that is definitely real, look no further than try This Is Definitely Real Meat today. And another disclaimer. The exact type of meat used in this product is not entirely clear, and the manufacturer cannot guarantee its origin or authenticity. The product may contain various meats of unknown origin and is sold as is. Please consume at your own risk. So
That should be in the next fucking McDonald's ad.
yeah, I could talk about ChatGPT like all fucking day. It's such a fantastic tool, and I love it for things like that because that's when it's in its own lane.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I'm not gonna have it write like video scripts and shit for me because.
But it can help bounce ideas.
Yeah, because that's what I've used it for. I said this is what I'm coming up with. Can you give me like some ideas? And it helps me write my own stuff more so than I'm taking the AI, because the AI thing, like I said, it's like a work email. It has no personality.
Right.
You have to feed it a personality if you want it to do that.
Right.
So it's such a fantastic tool, and it's a lot better than like making a forum post, because if you ask for like help on a forum, there's people like, what are you, a fucking idiot? What are you, fucking stupid? You just gotta do it this way.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Meanwhile, they've been doing it for 74
Why
years.
would I ask if I wasn't having trouble?
Yeah.
Okay. I love ChatGPT. I love AI tools. I think they make some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's a little scary, a little bit weird,
A little bit,
a little bit
yeah.
strange, but it's definitely very helpful. Like I could see in the future, like you mentioned before, chapter title cards. Like I could totally see in the future if we're making a video about X, Y, and Z, we can be like, hey, video about X, Y, and Z chapter names, like, and then have it, spit out names. Maybe we don't use them, maybe they inspire stuff, but like,
Yeah.
something like that could be really cool, because sometimes that's the hardest part, is like you can get the ideas down, but like naming it, formatting it, that's the hardest part, in a lot of cases. So.
And I me saying that leads me directly into doing a little segue. Remember Happy Wheels, Jordan?
Oh my
They got the
God.
fool on the Segway. That's me.
Fucking flashbacks, dude.
That's me right now. I'm the guy on the Segway.
Dude, the amount of times I tried to mod Happy Wheels onto my fucking Huawei Valiant,
Oh my God.
my $20
That's the most
Android
like
phone.
2010 sentence I've ever heard in my entire
Dude.
life.
I tried so hard, and then they made a mobile app that sucked compared to the main fucking game.
Yeah, but anyway, doing a little segue brings me directly into some progress reports.
Progress reports. Dude, I'm telling you right now, if
grades
you
are
got
in.
an F, I'm whipping you.
The grades are in. Jordan has to sign my progress report.
100%. Oh my God, I forgot parents had to do that, huh?
Uh,
I don't know why they wouldn't just fucking email it to the parent.
I don't know. Maybe they do now.
Probably do now. Yeah.
Anyway, got some videos in progress.
Couple of them.
Some for this channel, some for my channel. I want to let you know that the one for my channel is going swimmingly. It's going
Very
wonderfully.
nice. Very nice.
And the Monterey video, I'm going to be giving Jordan. Jordan, you have to hold me to this 100%.
Oh, I will.
I'm
Friday.
going to be giving Jordan a first draft of the final cut on Friday.
Yep.
Because I need to get it done. I'm sick of having this over my head.
We are 8 months in.
We need to do the fucking video. And I've just accepted the fact that no matter what timeline I finish it in, I'm not going to be satisfied because it took me so long to finish it.
True.
So I'm just gonna get it done. I just need that last like 15%. Yeah.
A little bit of schmooch.
So I'm gonna get that done. Jordan, you have to hold me to it. If you don't, if it's not in your hand on Friday, you just beat the shit out of me.
Yeah, Chris is gonna come over to my apartment Friday. 'Cause we have to storyboard some shit, and like what do we call it? What is a work board? What do you call that?
We'll workshop.
Workshop.
We'll
We'll have to
workshop an
workshop
idea.
some ideas for the future. And if I don't see a flash drive enter my hand, I'm gonna fucking put your head in my door and start slamming it shut.
I'm gonna look like handsome Squidward.
Yes, you're gonna get up. I'm gonna be like, oh my God, it's Chris.
So yeah,
Handsome
that's how things are going.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing the final cut. I'm excited for that video in general. Like, as shit as it might be, because I have a feeling it's gonna be like a fucking rose tinted glasses scenario where I'm like, we were fucking innovators back
It's a
then.
labor of love.
Yeah, I feel like in my head I'm like, man, we were kind of innovators with that video, and then it's gonna come out and I'll be like, wow, because it's one of our first. It is our first big project we've done.
Yeah, and that's
so I
the
don't
thing
imagine it's actually
is
that good.
You have to kind of, put it in that context. It's like we're constantly improving on things, and Jordan and I, this is like a huge like topic we talk about and we try to improve with like everything we make is a huge topic that him and I just talk about is how do we take the things we've done that maybe haven't worked and make them work.
Yeah. Like, for example, our Christmas video we just did, we spent like an hour the last time we did the podcast. We reviewed the entire video and took notes on what was good, what was bad, where it could have been better, how. And we learned, we took away a lot from that. At least I did.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, we figured out where our weak link is, and we've known what it is, but it's tough to get yourself in the mindset.
Yeah. And I'd like to go buy a camera soon.
Yeah, you were talking about that, about certain cameras and shit.
I've been getting some advice from my film professor. Smart guy, knows a lot about
Could
film.
just steal a camera.
He knows a lot about film. He knows a lot about cameras.
Wait, the film professor knows about film? That's fucking weird.
Yeah,
what
the
kind
guy
of school do
who
you go to?
Is kind of in the process of making like a massive like film right now.
Oh, really?
Knows a little bit about films. Knows a little bit about cameras.
That's a little weird, not gonna lie. That puts me on edge.
But he even took me into the back room you're not supposed to go into. Took me into the back room and
Showed
he
you his
showed
gels.
me. Yeah, he showed me the big equipment room they have, all the cameras and lenses and stuff they have. Man, there's a lot of shit there, and I feel like if I just took one. No, not gonna do that.
Not incriminate yourself.
There's a ton of stuff in there that is like very expensive and very interesting, and I kind of forgot where I was going with this. I want to buy something, basically. I want to buy a camera, and I don't want to spend $1 billion goddamn dollars on it.
Yeah. There has to be, because every fucking vlogger, YouTuber has like a halfway decent camera. There has to be some sort of camera that's like $1,500. That's great.
Well, I think that's that Pocket Cinema 4K.
Yeah.
It's $1,200.
How big is it, by the way? Is it like fucking this big?
We have the 6K at the lab. It's like
that's not bad. That's not bad.
But once it's rigged up, it's like this, and then like a lens, and then like some other shit. So, but it has a lot of stuff on board that is useful. But what I learned in that conversation with my professor is that I was working under the impression that like a lens is a lens is a lens.
Yeah.
I figured it was just like they all kind of just screw on.
Yeah.
To a camera, it's all kind of universal.
Yeah, like universal thread.
Nope. All proprietary.
Oh. That probably explains why they're so expensive.
And sometimes companies will change their standard in between generations and then sell you an adapter. So I compared it to like the tool sort of thing where you buy the Makita drill and you need the Makita batteries. And now you have the Makita batteries, so you might as well get the Makita saw and the Makita this and the Makita that. And now you have all Makita. Yeah. And it was the same thing with Canon where like you have the Canon cameras and now you need the Canon lenses. And once you have the Canon lenses, why don't you just keep the lenses and get the new Canon bodies? And now, but you need the fucking adapter now. So now you gotta buy the adapter.
Because you're not gonna rebuy all your lenses under fucking Pocket Cinema or whatever. Like, you're not gonna do that.
These fucking lenses are no joke expensive.
Yeah.
Like when I was looking at the Pocket Cinema 4K, it was like the cheap lenses I found were like $300.
Yeah.
And then some of the lenses that we've seen, not that we have, but we've seen in the cinema class is like fucking $50,000-$80,000 lenses. We're actually getting a lens that's worth like $7,000 or something.
Holy shit.
So it's like lenses are no fucking joke.
That's fucking just crazy, dude. And then you drop it and it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, you drop this fucking tube of glass. And then it's worthless.
Yeah. That's why I've been saying, like, we're in such a weird situation where, like, this is still a hobby for us. So, like, on one hand, a nice camera would be nice. But with the way technology advances, like, the new S23 Ultra, like, it would be more practical to buy the 1 terabyte version of that with the onboard storage, the fucking phenomenal camera, and just have that.
Well, but here's the thing. You don't get the same degree of modularity.
That's the thing.
And that's why I asked about like the more like camcorder form factor cameras. I said, what's the difference? Like, why would you want a DSLR instead of that? Mm-hmm. And it's for that, like the modularity. You're going to get the camera and you can swap out the lens. You can rig it in specific ways.
Yeah.
And you don't have that freedom with like a cell phone or like one of these cameras.
Right.
Because the lens is in there and it ain't gonna change.
Yeah.
And you don't have a ton of control over what the lens is doing anyway.
Yeah, depending on what it's doing, like what your purpose is too. Like it all depends on what you're trying to do. Because at the end of the day, like if you look at the new S23 Ultra, that shit has a 200 megapixel fucking camera.
Yeah.
Like you have the zoom that you need. You can crop in. You can do all this crazy shit. You can set it to pro mode and mess with aperture. You can fucking mess with like everything. So like it depends on your purposes at the end of the day and how much you know about cameras. But like, man, I can't get over the fact that like cameras are like $4,000, and then lenses are between $300 and $300,000. Like,
yeah,
it's just like why?
Yeah, that's the question.
It makes it a tough sell. It really does.
It does, and it's that step is like that. Now you're spending real fucking money on this.
And it's like hard to tell when do you do that, you know? And when is the call
and
for that?
I really do want one, because the footage off those like Blackmagic cameras and a lot of those Canon like DSLRs looks fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna get things that I like the look of out of other cameras.
Yeah. You're not going to get that out of an iPhone 14 or a fucking, S23.
Yeah, at the end of the day, regardless of how good the sensor is on the phone, it's not going to look as good as something that was purpose-built for taking video.
Yeah. That's why I think for us, like, it depends. It really depends what we want to do. But, like, from the start, instead of getting two of these cameras for combined $400, $500, we should have just bought an iPhone 13. Battery would have been better. Camera performance would have been better, and it would have been way more portable.
Because for this purpose, this camera does it all. It's in its own lane.
Yeah.
But it don't do much else.
It doesn't do much else. Like we had to film the entire Halloween thing on my cell phone, believe it or not, coincidentally, because it was too dark for this camera. And like you said, there's no modularity. We couldn't do anything. It was just dark. You couldn't see shit. So we had to film it on our phone. Versus, like an iPhone 13 is best in class fucking cell phone video performance, and it definitely fucking knocks this camera out of its lane.
But then you go and you get something more purpose built, like a DSLR, where you can, I'm not getting enough light. Let's pop open the fucking aperture.
Yeah.
Down to like an f1 or something.
Yeah.
Assuming I have a lens that supports an f1, which usually they're very fucking expensive, but f2.8, whatever, I'm letting in a shitload of light now. Yeah.
That's what's nice about the newer Samsung phones. When they added the actual physical aperture, I was like, that's pretty fucking cool on a cell phone. That's pretty sick. But like, yeah, it sucks. There's no in between. There is no in between. It's you buy a phone, it's decent. You buy a rank ass camcorder, or you buy a $3,000 camera. Like, there's almost no in between.
Yep. And they make like point and shoots that are like $700-800. But then you're stuck with like just a level of mediocrity that I hate.
Yeah, because you could do better, but it's like,
if I spent like another $300, I could have gotten like a pro, like a entry level like DSLR.
Yeah.
Like high level entry level DSLR.
Also, just finding cameras too that don't have that time limit as well. Like for DSLRs, fucking annoying.
And the batteries on those cameras also last like 2 seconds.
Yeah. That's my big concern is battery life.
On our last project we did, where I was director, we had to swap out the camera battery like 3 fucking times.
See, that's my big concern with spending money.
We did like 8 takes.
Yeah.
That were less than 30 seconds each.
So that's always my big concern about like us getting a better camera someday is like, if we get it, we do a lot of outside stuff. Like our IRL stuff is almost all outside. Like we've done some stuff inside recently, but like before this, the idea of IRL content for us was all outside stuff, outside the studio, outside Chris's house. So, for example, Monterey. That was 200 gigabytes of 1080p footage.
It was some ridiculous figure of
200 gigabytes of footage on that camera. Not only is like nothing. That's like fucking 5 minutes of footage on like one of those fucking crazy cameras, but also we had to manage battery life in Monterey by buying these little $20 batteries. But I would imagine if the lens is $1 billion in that camera, the battery's probably like $300.
Now you gotta deal with like something like this too.
Yeah.
Where this is like 8,500 milliamp hours. These are for our lights.
Yeah.
But now you're thinking like even with fast charging, you're looking at like a fucking 3 or 4 hour charge time.
Yeah. So for us, it's just like I'm so conflicted because on one hand I'm like, yeah, dude, it'd be sick if we got this camera. But if we ever do anything that we are not gonna have access to a charger for 8 hours, we're gonna need 12 batteries, and they're probably $300 each.
And you have to also take into account as well the storage space thing.
Yeah.
You're shooting raw, uncompressed 4K footage.
It's like a gigabyte a minute.
I remember I calculated this out when I was first looking at these cameras. And for the Pocket Cinema 6K, so if we shot the podcast in 6K on that camera, each episode would work out to be like 190 gigs or something.
Yeah. Which is like, what the fuck?
Which is fucking ludicrous.
Yeah.
Chicanery.
Yeah.
But, we don't have to shoot in 6K.
Yeah, no, for sure.
We shoot in 4K and we'd be in
better shape
than a lot of other podcasts.
But like, for real. But like, yeah, if we wanted to do mono, 200 gigs of 1080p footage, that would have easily probably been 7 terabytes. Like,
it would have been so much fucking space.
It probably would have been 7 or 8 terabytes. Like, there was hours and hours of footage. Not to mention the biggest thing for me, like I said, it's just battery life. Like, you can get an iPhone, I'm not an Apple guy, but you can get an iPhone with best-in-class video and shoot 4K, so to speak, or even like a 1080p 60 for like 5 hours. And it's only going to take up, maybe 60 gigs, 50 gigs, depends what you're filming exactly.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty good, and you have 5 hours versus, one of those cameras we could film we'd probably need 3 batteries for this podcast.
Yeah, it goes to show like that. Like, something that's purpose-built for it, if you want something that has battery life and looks good and has the modularity, you're going to spend out the fucking ass.
Yeah.
And what I want to avoid with this is I want to avoid the need for 2 cameras. I don't think I'm going to be able to.
Yeah,
because there are cameras that are really good for this purpose, podcasts, and there are cameras that are really good for like film.
Mm-hmm.
There's very few crossovers that do both very well.
Yeah. And what I'm concerned about is if you and I pull the trigger and we do we go halves or whatever, we buy a fucking $3,000 camera at some point. I don't want us to buy it and have it be like our Mitzer where we're like, yeah, $600 Mitzer or $500 Mitzer, and then it literally does one thing and we've never touched any of those knobs.
Well, and that's exactly what I was talking about with my professors. I said that's exactly what I want to avoid is I want to consider all the angles before I actually buy something because of things like that. I don't want to just buy it because I think it'll be good and then have it have some major drawback.
Yeah, I think for us, we've always talked about how planning is our big thing we need to work on. And if we're going to pull the trigger on a camera at any point, we need to consider our use case. And at this point, I think one of our biggest considerations over just sits 8K, 4K, whatever, is battery life. Like, we have to find that balance because if we go, we're like, fuck yeah, let's get a 6K camera. This is sick. And then it can't even make an hour-long IRL video. It's fucking useless for us. It's useless. Like, we don't, as much as we want the podcast to look good, who really cares if this is 6K? It's the IRL stuff.
At the end of the day as well, they make the sort of news, like documentary type cameras, which are kind of like this, but a lot beefier.
Yeah, the beefy boys.
And they last longer. They're a lot more rugged, but you can't change things. Like, you can't change out the lens. It doesn't work as well for cinema, and I want that aspect of it too. And that's kind of what I'm buying the camera for, is like for film more so than like whatever this is.
Yeah, which is where I think like if it's going to be for film, like that's the biggest consideration is like versatility and battery life. Like those two things have to be balanced well, because if you get one that's like, dude, look, I can fucking swap the fucking thing's dick and ass and like do all this crazy shit, but it will record for 8 minutes and then die.
Yeah.
It's useless.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, if you get something like a big boy that lasts for fucking 10 hours, but it looks very staticky and shit, and you have no modularity to it, then it doesn't fulfill your purpose,
Cameras is complicated.
Cameras are complicated. And that's why most people that are like professionals at this shit have tons of cameras, different purposes, because there really isn't many. Like you said, that there's a lot of crossover that do both. Like
Linus Tech Tips. He's got like 1 billion fucking cameras that he uses.
Yeah.
I know, I don't know a lot about like, Mark Ass Brownlee.
Mark Ass Brownlee, yeah.
MKBHD. I don't know a lot about him. I don't watch a ton of his videos, but I know they're very well shot and they're very well lit.
Yeah.
And I know he has like a ton of cameras. He's like a collector, isn't he?
I believe so.
He has a shitload of cameras.
So.
And I don't have shitload of cameras money.
I was gonna say, yeah, and Chris and I combined couldn't even buy probably some of the cameras they have one of.
So that's maybe bottom line. I think what we might have to do is consider our purposes. I want to focus more on cinema stuff, and Jordan wants to focus on podcast stuff. What we could do is we could both get like mid-tier cameras. Instead of putting our resources together and getting one really expensive camera, we get 2 mid-tier cameras, a podcast camera, and like an IRL camera, and like a cinema camera.
Yeah, because I feel like for this, like, we don't need much. I think this camera's biggest drawback right now, besides the fact that it's just 1080p, which doesn't really matter if you're on YouTube, but is the aperture just seems really low.
Yeah.
Because literally, as soon as we turn off one of these lights, the whole half of the frame will just be like dark.
Yeah, here.
Here's a little example for.
Kill one of the lights.
Like it's night and day. Like it's night and day. And like I said, we couldn't even use it for the Halloween video. So this was meant to be a podcast camera. But then when we tried to use it for an IRL video at night, it was useless. So to Chris's point, like maybe we need an IRL camera and then, a podcast camera. Because at the end of the day, too, I'd rather have a camera dedicated for the podcast that's going to be static like this one, where it just like does one thing, stays in one place, and just stays plugged in. It just does its thing. Yeah. Then we don't have to worry about battery life. We can just go for the feature set, But the IRL one, yeah, I mean,
I'll ask ChatGPT. What do you think?
It's like, kill yourself. Like, fuck. Okay.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess if you say so.
It's like the Magic Conch show. The Magic Conch knows all. ChatGPT knows all.
Magic Conch. So, camera talk aside, cameras are extraordinarily complicated.
Yes.
And buying cameras sucks.
It does. So, if you want to Venmo me a lot of money, we can buy a camera.
If you want to send me $2,000, I will buy a camera with it.
There's got to be someone out there who hears this that's like, fuck it.
It's like eventually, be one person.
Like eventually someone's going to hear this and be like, why not?
Send us $1 million right now. You think if I just emailed like random people, like random rich people,
and said you were trying to start like
and just like ask them to buy me stuff, they would buy me stuff?
Well, there's a big thing going on TikTok right now with a lot of tech TikTokers, the people who talk about like games and shit, where one of the guys was like, give me a free PC, and the guy made a reaction video being like, no. So then the guy reacted to that video again, playing like a song he made using sounds that says like, "Give me a free PC,"
is it the guy
and he got a free one.
Who he did that, and then he goes, "Okay, if this video gets like 200,000 likes, I'll send him the PC." And then he bought him the fucking PC.
Yeah. So like, maybe we got to do that. We got to find like a camera TikToker and be like, "Give me a free camera," and then make them something.
I'll reach out to fucking Mark Ass Brownlee. Yeah. Say, "Hey, love your content. No idea who you are. Love your content. Give me a camera."
And then maybe one of them will just be like, "Fuck it, it's an old one anyway," and they'll just send it.
And then it'll be like, "No," and then I'll take a picture of him in his Tesla
from the back seat.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Bet.
Fuck. But yeah, I don't know. Cameras are a tough beast to tame.
They're all such purpose-built things. There's no like good all-rounders. If you know of any good all-rounders, let me know.
Yeah.
But the feature set I'm asking for is fucking impossible.
Yeah.
Especially at the price point I want. I want modularity, good cinema performance, good podcast performance, 4K at least, good battery life. You're not going to get all those things, no. I don't think.
Something has to give. And in that scenario you just gave, it's probably battery life. Like that's the one that's going to be.
How have we not solved this problem already? The whole battery thing.
I mean, we have fucking cars that run off batteries.
At exactly. This point, right? Like, just put a fucking bigger battery on the thing.
You just get this camera with a fucking Tesla battery.
Like, honestly.
It takes 4 days to charge.
Or maybe I'll buy one of those giant power banks. One of those giant ones that you can power, like, your fucking house with.
Right.
And I'll charge that up. And then I'll bring that.
Yeah. Well, that's always the thing is like you know people will say like, well, just bring a portable charger, but like you said before, these are 8,500 milliamp hour and those are small comparatively. They lasted 120 minutes on these lights. Like to charge that off a fucking power bank is gonna take forever. And the one thing you want to avoid in like content creation and production is fucking downtime, doing nothing.
Yeah, if this battery is like the size of my power bank.
Yeah, that too. Like my Steam Deck one is fucking 20,000 milliamp hours. So okay, I can charge each of those one time and then a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, well, actually, it would be pretty much exactly one time each and then half for the next one. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Just have it not use as much power. Like this camera lasts like an hour.
Yeah.
On like a 750 milliamp hour battery.
Yeah, so like if you could retrofit that shit would last for like 10 hours. Like, goddamn, that should be more than that.
So,
it'd be like 13 hours, but. Anyway, Chris, that was a bit camera-heavy episode.
I hate cameras.
I can't stand cameras because I just want one that works, and it's just like you said, it's just not out there. And then like, even when I think of like, you know, maybe an iPhone or like a Samsung would be good or like some decent phone, there's always a drawback. Like you said, you can never have all of it. It's always a drawback.
Anyway, I'm gonna go kill myself.
He will not do that. This is his lawyer speaking. He was joking.
I'm gonna go harass people to buy me a camera.
That he will do.
That I probably will do.
So anyway, you can find the show Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Breaker, Rated Puppet, Spotify Podcast, and the RSS feed. There is also Instagram and TikTok where you can contact us, and there's the email synapsemisfire@pm.me. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, and death threats or camera suggestions. I'm open to those too.
How many times do you think I would have to email like Elon Musk until he buys me a camera?
I don't know. He seems very impulsive, so I don't think many times, to be honest. Like if he saw it,
If I tweeted at him like 3 times, hey, buy me a camera. All right, sure, whatever.
I feel like I would do that if I was rich. Like maybe I wouldn't, but like from my perspective now, like if I just had that kind of money and I got a tweet like that, occasionally I would just be like,
all right, whatever.
Yeah, sure. Like at the end of the day, we're like, oh man, I really want a $20,000 camera. What the fuck is that to Elon Musk? That's literally his morning coffee.
Dude, shit out 20 grand.
Like if I was just like, bro, buy me a $20,000 camera, like I'd just be like, all right.
Oh shit, all right.
I mean, you said please, like please, man. Like shit.
That's what you want, you know.
Like fuck. But anyway.